Welcome to European Railway issue number 99, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme, we travel to Czechia to sample a busy cross-country route to the north of Prague. A visit to Romania for some Loco-hauled action. France is our next stop. We head for Germany, with a look at industrial and mainline action to the southwest of Braunschweig, nighttime activity at the major Hupac Intermodal yard at Gallarate in northern Italy, and finally to Switzerland, as we study trains along the shores of Lake Geneva. In the first part of this programme, we take a look at cross-country rail traffic to the north of Prague on the busy corridor between Usti-nad-Labem in the far north and the major junction town of Kolin to the east of the capital. The maps here show our various filming locations visited in this section, starting in the north. We begin at the station at Polepi, before moving in a southeasterly direction towards Štítí. Rounding the curve is electric locomotive number 163257. This one was originally a Class 162, but was part of a batch which received bogies from Class 363 during a protracted period between 1993 and 2008. The train is carrying wood chippings. This is Hostka, as 163065, one of 11 locomotives of this subclass fitted with push-pull equipment, and part of a second build between 1991 and 1992, approaches with a local service from Usti-nad-Labem. The Loco wears vinyls featuring the Czech Railways advertising magazine, a free publication issued across the network each month. In the opposite direction we see sister loco number 163078, wearing the DC green livery with a deep yellow stripe. You can expect up to 2 freight trains each way per hour on this line during the busy weekday periods. The line is electrified at 3000 volts DC and sees many single voltage types, including class 130, which is now used only on freight traffic. This is number 026 on a set of coal empties. Moving southeast once again, and we are at Stetti, as another 3000 volt electric in the form of 123020 heads north with a train load of Škoda cars. The track closest to the camera leads down to the nearby paper mill and sees regular trip workings. One such duty is witnessed here and is headed by diesel locos 740-819 and 740-837. They both date from 1984, being originally built for the state railways of Czechoslovakia, but have since been sold to the private operator Advanced World Transport, a member of the Polish Railways cargo group. We continue our journey now, and to our final 3 destinations, beginning at Wawrzyniec, just south of Mielnik. This is a flat, open area of countryside, with wide views of the tracks, although crop heights can be an issue with photography. Heading south on a loaded coal train, we see number 130017, a machine which was constructed in 1977 and part of a batch of 54, with 14 going to private industry and the rest to the state railways. 163243 heads a local train from Usti-nad-Labem. With the bees enjoying the local thistle flowers, number 122016 is seen in the far distance, heading north, with logs bound for the paper mill at Štiti. The Class 122 are now some of the oldest locomotives at work on the Czech main lines, having been constructed back in 1967. Our fifth location is at the junction town of Cețești, which sees our route swing in from the northwest and leave in a southeasterly direction. A single-track branch line from Lada Boleslav comes in from the north, as well as a single-track line to Prague and to Hostivice, which leaves to the southwest. Our location is just north of the station. Advanced World Transport Class 753 diesels in the shape of 725 and 730 head north through the station with a loaded grain train. You'll have seen a Class 854 railcar plus passenger coach pass by our grain train. Here is another member of the class, number 854212, and this one departs north with a service to Mladá Boleslav. Class 854-2s were rebuilt from Class 852 units between 1997 and 2006, whereas Class 854-0s were rebuilt from Class 853. The original 852 and 853s date from between 1968 and 1971. Here we see 854-213 with 2 trailer coaches arriving from Mladá Boleslav. Veteran Class 122 electric locomotive number 122053 heads north with another batch of finished cars. Quite a few of the class are now in store, and with plans to re-electrify this line to 25 kV AC, their long-term future looks bleak. In terms of history, this line was constructed by the Austrian Northwestern Railway and opened through to Usti-nad-Labem on the 1st of January 1874. This was during the time of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which lasted between 1867 and 1918. 854-213 is seen running around, ready to attach to a single trailer car, before it heads north. Finally from here, 854213 continues with its repositioning of a passenger trailer coach. Our final destination comes from the station at Stara Boleslav, as 363031 heads towards the camera with a trainload of wood chippings. (163.061) pauses at the station with a working for Usti-nad-Labem. Our final scene shows that 163094 had already arrived at almost the same spot as the train before, but this time with a northbound service for Usti-nad-Labem. With a good variety of freight and passenger traffic, this line is well worth a visit should you find yourself in the area. We now move to Romania, a country which we do not often visit. In another of his rail roving adventures, our cameraman Richard Scott was able to capture a number of loco-hauled and multiple unit operations in the northeast of the country, close to the border with Moldova. Our map here shows the main locations included in this section. Beginning on the platforms at Bacău, we see diesel locomotive number 890223, one of 27 members of Class 89 that still exist, and which were rebuilt with train heating. Arriving on the far platforms is a Class 41 electric, with an express passenger service from Bucharest. For the enthusiast, one of the biggest draws to the region are the Class 60 Sulzer-powered diesels that are still a common sight in the area, where they work both passenger and freight services. Some 2,119 of these locomotives have been built by Electro-Puter in Romania, both for domestic use but also some for export. The first 6 were actually built in Switzerland, with another 2 that were a twin unit design, taking the total to 2,127. This is Nicolina, just to the south of Laşi, as freight loco number 641359 heads east. This class is a rebuild of the Sulzer Class 60, with the locos being modernised and fitted with a GM engine. In addition to Loco-hauled workings, diesel rail cars are also a common sight. This is one of private operators Regio Calatori's ex-French X4300 and X4500 units, which were bought second-hand from SNCF. This one sports a revised cab design. We leave the station behind the Class 60 diesel. Meanwhile, back at Laşi, Still in French regional railway colours, this ex-4500 DMU dates from the 1960s and is one of around 70 hand-me-downs that work rural line services in the country. A more modern unit in the form of this Siemens Desiro Class 96, seen here leaving Nicolina. '64 1227 heads east out of Nicolina. This is Tikuch, as Class 41 electric, number 305, which is one of 131 examples geared for express passenger work. Another 106 are geared for mixed traffic workings, and most date from 1965. This is the station at Citila, just outside of Bucharest, as we see another second-hand diesel unit, this time in the form of ex-Dutch Class 3200 Vodloper, now designated Class 78-32. The unit leaves with a service for Ploiești. A Class 64 diesel is passed by a Class 41 electric. Here we have a Class 48, which belongs to EP Rail, arriving in the sidings. Finally, it is 641046, which arrives from the north. It is France that we travel to next, and the first in a two-part feature looking at services on the East Bank line along the River Rhône, between Orange and Lyon. We've chosen 3 locations for this section of the programme, indicated here on our map, and which were filmed between 2018 and 2021. We begin on a Saturday morning in September 2021, close to the village of Lapelu, as a B81500 unit, number 620, heads north with a local train from Orange. Every 2 hours, Loco-powered TER services operate between Lyon and Marseille, and vice versa. This one heads north powered by BB 22312. Not far behind was BB 27000 electric number 049 on a freight from Miramar to Lyon. Just north of d'Anzère, the river cuts through the hillsides, resulting in steep cliffs which reach down to the waters below. This is a popular photographic location as the east bank line squeezes between rock and water. The area is prone to some very strong winds, the worst of which are known as the Mistral. On the day of our filming, the wind was very strong as it whipped along the surface of the water. Heading north, we see 69315 hauling 75052. Bi-mode unit number B81623 is next, as it heads south with a local train from Valence to Orange. The road bridge here is known as Pont du Robinet and dates from 1847, when it replaced a rope ferry crossing. It was destroyed in the Second World War by French resistance in order to slow the German retreat. Its rebuild was completed in 1950. There's plenty of freight on this side of the river, and bearing in mind that there's also another parallel twin-track freight route on the west side, as we see Class 186 Electric number 302 heading a southbound working. We saw BB 22312 earlier. Here it is heading back south with a TER service for Marseille. Z23500 double-deck units also appear on local trains. This is Z23563, working the 1212 from Avignon to Lyon. The river has been open to navigation for many years and is kept high by a series of dams, with locks for the barge and general river traffic. Here we see 186165 and 186304. Not far behind 26203 is 27112, with another northbound intermodal. TGV set number 45, since withdrawn since this shot was taken, heads south with a service from Paris to Avignon. As can be seen, multiple units are a common sight on this line. This time around, it is a Class Z24-500 unit, number 723. BB 7355 heads a Saint-Clair-les-Roches to Lyon-Ciblin tank train. (26-181) follows just 6 minutes later. A different perspective now as we switch sides of the river. A loaded barge makes its way north under the historic road bridge. A pair of ex-73-500 single-car diesel units head north in the late afternoon. These vehicles were first introduced at the end of 1999 and tend now to run in pairs after a series of accidents, which highlighted braking issues when working on their own. There have been just 3 withdrawals from the fleet size of 318. Our final location in this part, we'll bring you part 2 in the next issue of European Railway, comes from just south of Livron. Powering away from the camera is BB 22266, with a TER regional service bound for Marseille. Sister locomotive number 22311 heads north in the opposite direction. Finally, we have an unidentified Z23-500 double-deck unit, which is heading south bound for Avignon. This is a busy line throughout the day, and is a popular area for observers or those visiting on holiday. In this section, we move to the Sulzer-powered steelworks, just to the southwest of Braunschweig, and also a stint next to the main line linking the city with Hanover. This will be the first of a two-part section looking at train movements in the area. The map here shows all of the locations we will visit and the 3 positions which we will focus on in this, the first part of this feature. We begin at the steelworks at Sulzer-powered, which is also known as Beddingen, and is owned by company Sulzer-powered AG. A road bridge across the tracks to the north of the main complex is our first filming spot, as we look down onto Vossloh G6 locomotive number 632, seen shunting a rake of steel wagons ready for loading. These sheeted wagons will protect the product whilst it is in transit to its final destination. The Loco is the most modern of the steelworks fleet, operated by the private VPS group. Most were delivered from manufacturer Vossloh during the 2011 to 2015 timeframe. 41 such locomotives operate around the complex. The tracks here are part of the internal rail system, and a good number of transfer freights to and from the exchange yard further to the north are commonplace, such as this 4,000-ton set of iron ore wagons heading for the unloading facility. Motive power is a pair of G1500 locos. The steelworks here produces over 7 million tonnes of steel each year and receives trainloads of coal and iron ore mainly from the port of Hamburg. Products manufactured include heavy profile steel sheets, hot rolled wide strips and steel strips, heavy and medium weight plates, sheet steel and trapezoidal sheeting, much of which leaves the complex by rail. As mentioned, steel coil is a major product which is manufactured here. In this view, G6 Loco number 635 positions this rake of loaded wagons. Rail activity is 24/7, 365 days a year, and movements are almost constant. The coil carriers here are part of the internal user fleet. Just to the north, the lines dovetail into a pair of tracks that feed into the exchange sidings, a kilometre or so to the north. Looking south along this line, we see a Vossloh G6 running light engine back into the vast steel producing complex. There are 5 Voith G1500 locos working around the area, including number 1501, wearing internal number 40. It is seen here heading a lengthy string of loaded coal hoppers. Around 2 kilometres to the north is the main line, and it is to two locations that we go to next. The first is a very quick visit to location number 3, before we settle back to some further action at our position shown as number 4. This is 401005, passing the crossing and junction signal box here at Groß-Gleidingen. Next we see 38608, heading a Bremerhaven to Prague container train. At our next location, in this, the first part of our visit to the line, we see 401081 on the 1618 service from Berlin to Basel. These services appear hourly in each direction. This is Berlin-based 145052, on a very short westbound freight carrying military vehicles. (440-112) is one of 24 such units operated by private firm Elektronetz Nordost, which operate local services in the area. (189-453) heads train 44504 from Antwerpen to Ruhland. This is the 10 o'clock from Interlaken in Switzerland to Berlin, formed of ICE set number 401017, part of a fleet of 90 dating back to 1989. A more modern intercity train set, powered at the rear by 146569. The train is the 1422 from Dresden to Emden. Class 101 and Class 120 electric locomotives have been the mainstay of Loco-hauled intercity expresses for at least the past 25 years. With the influx of more ICE train sets, their use has declined. Indeed, all of the Class 120 fleet is now withdrawn, and at least 9 Class 101s have also gone. Here 101014 heads east. Not far behind is 445-008 on a service from Bielefeld to Braunschweig. Sister unit number 445011 heads in the opposite direction. It is one of 13 such train sets operated by Westfalenbahn. Coradia Continental 4-car unit number 1440122, operated by Enno, is the next to appear. Flixtrain operates this service to Berlin. The company uses hired-in Class 182 electrics, which are more common working container and intermodal services. Here we have numbers 518 and 505. To add to the variety, here are a pair of Class 402s, a shortened version of the similar Class 401. Here we have set numbers 9 and 44. One 185-187 heads an eastbound freight, number 511151, from Cielce Yard, Hanover, to Sedin Yard, southwest of Berlin. This main line is one of the oldest in Germany, being opened in 1838 when it linked Brunswick with Bad Harzburg. It was then joined by a through route from Hanover, which was opened in stages from 1843 to 1844, and which was built by the Royal Hanoverian State Railways. Here we see 411026 and 415002 heading west. One 189-010 is slowed by signals as it passes with an unidentified container train, probably from CZECHIA to Bremerhaven. 2 intercity trains now to finish off. The first powered by 101-045. Our second train is operated by 146-570. We'll take another look at this line in the next edition of European Railway. Something a little different now, as we travel to Italy for a look at operations in and around the busy Hupac Intermodal terminal, situated around 30 kilometres northwest of Milan, not far from the border with Switzerland. Our map shows its location. This is one of the busiest intermodal terminals in the country and sees trains arriving and departing at least every hour throughout the week. The list of terminals served is impressive, as can be seen from our list. We called in to view operations on a dark December night in 2021. Our first view shows a Tulov to Gallerate working, arriving behind Siemens Vectron number 193518. Having arrived a little earlier, Rail Pools 186251 runs around before its next turn of duty. This loco is spot hired to various operators, the latest being TX Logistic. (484-018) is the next train to leave the terminal with the overnight run to Rheinhausen. There's a crew change for 193518 as it heads to the stabling area between duties. This is the main office that deals with all aspects of train management. The yard can be seen on the track diagram, while the night crew inputs wagon and load consists into the computer network. Let's watch the team go about their work for a few minutes. The Hupac company operates 8 terminals throughout Central Europe and has around 250 employees responsible for the loading and management of the trains whilst they are in the terminal areas. Rail traction is largely contracted out to various hauliers. However, in late 2017, Hupac ordered 8 Vectron locomotives for itself to operate their trains on the main Italy, Switzerland and Rhine freight corridor. We've already seen one in this section, number 518. They have been subsequently managed out to a third-party operator to do the actual driving, the latest being SBB Cargo.
Riccardo? Fammi una cortesia, adesso quando vi giro in G4, quando poi consegni il treno, tieniti una staffa.
Outside, the gantry cranes are working non-stop to load and unload the numerous trains in the complex. Another arrival, this one worked by BLS Cargo. Having detached from its train, BLS Cargo Vectron number 475415 runs light engine to the northern end of the terminal. This loco was delivered new to BLS on the 23rd of November 2017 and can operate in Germany, Austria, Italy, Switzerland and the Netherlands. It is one of 25 such machines that were ordered by BLS. Finally, having spent a little over 2 hours at the terminal, SBB Cargo's 193-518 departs with the 0330 departure to Cologne. Our final section in this programme comes from southwest Switzerland, as we sample traffic on the eastern shores of Lake Geneva, not far from the resort town of Montreux. We chose 3 locations at Cully, River, and just south of the lake at Roche. The line we are on is the main through route linking Lausanne and Brieg, and sees hourly intercity trains and half-hourly stopping services. We begin right next to the water's edge at River, as Class 523 electric unit number 060 rounds the bend and comes into view, powering a local service for Martigny. The views across Lake Geneva towards France are superb, although on the day of our filming the afternoon sun was to make way for localised thunderstorms. With dark thunderclouds in the distance, 460-044 powers at the rear of this Geneva to Brieg interregional service. With ever-increasing use of new double-deck intercity multiple units, the classic loco and coach formations are being relegated to fewer and fewer lines. This route does still remain a good one to watch the Class 460s in action. Here we have 460-069 on the 1557 Brieg to Geneva airport service. This is the station at River, situated right on the water's edge. Unit number 523024 arrives with the 1821 departure from Aigle to Vallorbe. 460-118 was next to appear, powering at the rear of this, the 1709 from Geneva Airport to Brieg. A different type of unit now, in the shape of two Class 511 units, numbers 112 and 114. Moving on a few kilometres, we travel to the northwest and to the station platforms at Kully. The first thing to note was that the evening's rain wasn't that far away, and lighting conditions would soon deteriorate sharply. Note the blue colour of the lights that make up the numerous ground signals here. (523.025) rounds the curve with the 1854 Grand Centre to Villeneuve. Next up, it is the arrival of 523.016 on one of the hourly S3 line services bound for Vallorbe. The rain and strong winds curtailed our filming shortly after. Next morning we travelled southeast and to our final location at the country town of Roche. It's 460.044 again on our Geneva to Brieg service. (560-218 and 217) represent a type that are used for early morning and evening commuter trains. This is the 0712 St Maurice to Rhone all station stopping service. The 0609 from Geneva Airport to Brieg passes through with 460-018 on the rear. As already mentioned, these services operate hourly in each direction. Freight services on this line are very infrequent, to say the least, with one every couple of hours if you are lucky. Returning from Aigle is Class 620 freight loco number 006. Finally, our last shot shows 460-069 heading north, with the 0657 from Brieg to Geneva Airport. As the train passes, we hope that you have enjoyed watching this edition of European Railway.